So that this world of children's drawings is a really mysterious and remarkable way to see the development of the child and to see many other things as well. So I want to start with this, looking at this energy that comes to the young child, especially between the ages of birth to 7. So when we look at a little acorn under the tree, which is so tall, just think like, how did that energy, what kind of force can that seed inside the acorn have that it can grow into the mother tree? It's like an amazing, how much does it grow? And how does a little baby coming out weighing 6 or 7 or 8 pounds all of a sudden become this tall or this tall at 7 years old? So Rudolf Steiner, who is the founder of Waldorf education and a teacher of mine, he talks about this invisible force. The invisible force can be called a life force or an etheric body. And the way it moves through the little child is from the head through the first 7 years all the way to the fingers and the feet. And when we look at children's drawings, we're going to see that they actually are telling you where they are with this life force by what they're drawing. So we're just going to keep that in mind. So there's a little joke about, it's a story about a little girl who was drawing, and it's okay, Alex, you can stand up, it's okay. And someone came over and said to her, "Oh, what are you drawing?" And she said, "Well, I'm drawing God." And the person said, "Well, honey, nobody really knows what God looks like." And she said, "Well, they will in a minute." Children, they need lots of chances to draw, pre-draw, just draw on their own. They give an overall view of the child's situation, their developmental stages, and this life force that is coming to, another way Rudolf Steiner describes it is that the children are born with a hereditary body, right? They have the heredity from their parents and grandparents. And this force, which is a spiritual force, and there's a spiritual force in the acorn, and there's a spiritual force in the sunflower seed that will grow up to be a giant sunflower. It's a little different force with the human being. Okay, where was I here? But yes, we will see what happens here. It's a spiritual force coming through the body, the model body, Steiner says, to make the child's body their own. Does that make sense to you? So this force is coming through and taking the hereditary body and transforming that in the uniqueness of that individual child. So these drawings, interestingly enough, there was an exhibition some time ago where there were 110 years of children's drawings from 40 different nations. And there was, the development was the same. The forms were the same around the same development. It isn't like this. but it's a little wider. We'll also see in this little time, which we're only going to get the slightest taste of this, what children's drawings are and can be. What they can tell us is that the way the child draws the forms is the way civilizations, the way back as far as the cave drawings and drawings on rocks that were done. The child also follows the civilizations as they move through these periods. So there's really a lot happening here. As we go through these, and we're going to draw them, and I'm going to ask you to help me with this, and it's nice that you get to experience the drawings. So when the child draws the first drawing, or the second or the third or the fourth developmental phase, it doesn't mean that they're done with it. They will do that first phase and then they will recapitulate it later. What a 1-year-old draws, a 6-year-old might be drawing one day too. So it's not just a very neatly cut way, but there's a lot of recapitulation and then there's more development. So what we're going to do at first is I would love for you to do these very simple drawings, and I'm going to show you how. And then I want you to think about, not intellectually, but where do you think the child's consciousness, what would they be experiencing? Why would they be drawing this? And so the first one, so the little child, really as soon as even 1.5, as soon as they stand up, I've seen little babies do this. So the grip is, their hands are not yet independent fingers. You know, everything they have is, you know, one grip like this. And the hand grip will develop, hopefully, into the 3 points by 6.5 to 7, or 6 to 7, or earlier, depending. So we're going to hold it like this, and so you're going to keep drawing like this, but it's more the movement even than the drawing. So this is the first one. And it would be like, oh, so sorry. I'm going to hold it differently. I'm not going to even look because there's never ending. There's just a line that circles round in every direction like this. And it's not like this, like we would draw it. And then, you know, you want to kind of let go. And just, it is a line that does not stop. It goes on for eternity. And it's not like this. It's really the whole arm. So just try that and try to say, what is going on here? So you want, you know, they don't really have very much independence to start with in their movement, but it is just going on in all directions, one line. And a lot of times they don't even look when they're doing it. It's more the movement that is carrying this. And so different directions, up and down, side to side, right? Yeah. So little Rooney could probably tell us about it if she could talk. Rooney, what do you think, honey? So what What is that like? Now, put it in your non-dominant hand and do it, and just feel the movement. One line that rounds and rounds. And just big movement. So there's no wrong answers, but so you can't give a wrong answer. What is that like? What does that bring to you, that movement? What do you think is in the child's consciousness? Could just be one word, or it can be, what do you think?
I think it's a movement to help to calm down.
To calm down?
Yes.
Okay, it can be calming, just that roundness. Yeah, absolutely. What else?
I feel like it makes me think of the universe.
Yeah.
And it's like
Like it's a whole
orbiting and never ending. And
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Feels a little liberating for me.
A liberating feeling,
Yeah.
like you could just fly.
It's like just be.
Absolutely, me. Mhm. Absolutely. Anything else?
I felt my body, with the movement of my shoulder, I was like, oh.
Yes.
There I am, right there.
There you are. There you are. So this is on a cave from very, very long ago, and I'm not sure when that was. All of that you said is really exactly that. So here are some drawings, one by a 2.5-year-old, 3-year-old. This is a child doing it, so he'll watch. Watch, he won't even look. You see how the movement carries his arm rather than him doing the movement? We always have tea.
Yeah.
And another one where he's not looking.
Are these prompted?
What?
Are these prompted, or is it
No,
just
Nothing.
draw whatever feels right? And this is
No, just draw.
Yeah.
Not even what feels right.
It's just, or even better yet.
Yeah. So let's see that one again because it's so good. Do you see how the movement's carrying him rather than him focused? This is a little older child. We'll look at that. Good one.
it's a good sign, huh?
Approves of the drawings.
Yeah. This is a 4-year-old girl. She has borders around it. It's almost like a gate. It's almost like a protection around that. It's an emphasis. That's what that's telling me. That she's holding that in her. Yeah. So yeah, this gives it away. So one of the next things that occurs is a circle. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. This is kind of, oh, that's okay. Clean it up afterwards. All right. So why a circle? What's going on? So around 2.5, sometimes earlier, to 3, sometimes earlier or later, there's something that happens where a child who is just kind of oneness with the world, this very, very early childhood, in 1 to 2, and it's happening a little earlier, at 3, all of a sudden, there's, instead of saying Rooney wants, it's like I when I say I, that means that I feel myself a bit separate from everyone else. And guess what else comes? A lot of no. No. Absolutely no. Because you aren't me. And so everything that's not me is going to be no. And that's really good. This defiance is really good. I'm separate from you. There's a differentiation from inside to outside. One very interesting thing is that the cranial bones, so we're starting at this head, right, this round, it's kind of above the head, this universal roundness. But now coming down into the head, this force that we call life force or etheric force or formative force, something happens, and that's that these cranial bones in the front of the head close. So there's a circle there as well. So the circles are not perfect. The circles that a child that age draws are, it takes a lot of, I'm going to do this. And it's more like, you know, it's they don't really have the three-pointed grip, but we're not going to worry about grip so much right now. But it really is kind of this closing. And it's, yeah, like I just need to do this. And sometimes over and over and over. And this is really the first house. This is me and everything else isn't. This is me and everything else is not. So why? I actually did that inside out. I should have not told you all that. How did you find that out? But if you just draw that again, maybe with your non-dominant hand, in a way where you're using so, it takes an enormous effort on the child's part. Something in them is saying, I want to create this form. Now I'm going to come out of the eternal line that is a universal kind of flying soul kind of thing into closing that circle. And can you feel the difference between the eternal rounding and this closing? Yeah? Okay. So let's look at some. This again is, not sure where it is, but on these rocks, these circles that come next in the following civilization of the last one. And I have a friend who's working on this research where he is going to show all the civilizations that follow the forms for the first 7 years. I'm very excited about his work. And children move in circles. Round and round. And if you just heard that, I have golden wings, so I can fly in this roundness. And flying in circles. Oh. Falling in circles. Yeah. And this is at the Lakota Reservation. There's a Waldorf endeavor there where my husband and I have been doing work for a long time. And round we go, this little boy. Until we can't. And down. And this was a birthday card from one of my grandsons that I kept, but it's this roundness, almost to the circle, almost. And the drawing, sometimes very tiny. You see how they're drawn? You just keep going. I didn't say sit down and draw circles. This is what they do. And more, one after the next. You see the whole hand grip as well? This is what they look like. It's really about 2.5. These are just so, theirs takes so much effort. You can just see the effort that is put into those. And this is a little boy at the Pine Ridge Reservation as well. It's really a lovely little school that they work very hard to get Waldorf education. So in different cultures too, it doesn't matter about the culture. And then you just see this wanting to close here. And he's 3. Just round and round, close them right on up. Yeah. Now, so we came when there was a powwow, and this little boy, this is just free play. I didn't say, like, show me what you're going to do. This is just the creative play. And watch him circling. He's only 3. He's quite an amazing dancer. He'll just move round and round. He moves the sticks round and round. And around we go. And there he is at the powwow. Really beautiful child. And more circles. These are the very first ones. And there you see an older child kind of putting them in different spaces, but still needed to do that. And this is a 6-year-old, so why did you choose to do that? With all these different colors and these circling, like that circling says, I am here, I am here, I am here, right? And again, this one with the kind of gate or fence around it, 5-year-old, kind of protecting that. She was a very dreamy child. And another with an older child, so you see the recapitulation here. And all of these circles, this was a very, very strong child that I had, really wonderful girl, but really needing to do this. And you can see that the circles can become one of the first human beings. And so interesting here. Let's talk about this for a minute. So, with these circles, so here here am I, and everything else isn't me so much, right? Except, gosh, if you look at a lot of the sunshine, which is one of the first things children draw, many times they don't start outside the circle. Hi. They start inside the circle to make the sun and move these lines out. Why do you think they don't very much start there, but start like that?
Coming from within them.
Yes. There's still, everything comes from me out. Right? Everything comes from me out. And again, this very big protection, almost like a womb-like figure. This is a 3-year-old. And there you have that. You can see those lines which are reaching from self into world. Like I'm going to come out of myself and I'll come this far, but I'm not going to go out, start from the outside yet. So this one, let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Well, let's see, 5:30, I think up till 6:30. Okay, so if you, this next one is so we've drawn our circle, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it in the middle. So why don't you try to draw that and see what it is. What's going on here? And often, I just will tell you, there's 2 different ways, but right now let's look at a kind of circling, let's do this one. It's a kind of condensation of the first drawing we did, that sort of universal, never stopping. The circle is there, but never ending. Circle is condensed. What do you think that is? What's the difference there? Okay, let's do one more and then we'll talk about this again. So we're going to keep this in mind. And there's another drawing, and I have to say that although in some books it says this happens at the same time, I see more the circling in my last 50 years of being with children than this. But it does happen that some children, rather than so much doing this form, will want to do something liney. Like it's going all over, but it's in the lines. Why don't you try that before we come to this point in the circle and see what is the difference between that never-ending circling and now there's this line. That it's not just straight up and down too, it's going in different directions, but they're really lines rather than circles. So how is that different from the circling?
Angry,
What?
more angry,
You feel like angry?
yeah, more radical.
Line, just like the circling turned into the first one we did turned into a circle, this one will turn into these starry forms. So it will reach out and it's still structured, but now it's kind of a starry form. So let's look at some of those. So there you have a kind of that I would say was the circling. And there you see marking the center. You see that? Like, I'm landing. So at first we were just going never ending, but now coloring the inside, it's like I've landed. And look at, and this is, there you have one of the first little people, but this is like a 4 or 5 year old. And this is really, you know, a very cosmic child who is now in high school. Not high school here, but in another high school. I just ran into her father at the store. And yeah, just these circling. So there you see the marking, not quite in the middle, but now see the circles below. These are all free drawing. And there you see the marking, the middle. Same there, a very cosmic child. And there you see this other form coming in the middle. But there you see the cross. And the cross is coming there, this structural form. This is just, do you see how sweet this little sun is? It's like, I'm only gonna come out of myself this much. That's it. Right now, just a little bit at a time. And there you see how the circling and the structure of the cross does turn into some people. Now this is a 5.5-year-old. And he also is very cosmic child, meaning, doesn't mean anything but a little bit living more in their imagination and not so much, you know, in structure. There you have the cross down below and the circling. They do come together into the first people, and sometimes the sun is the head of the person. There, I'm reaching out of my still here, I'm still coming down. And that is my grandson, I think he was 5, and we just had a birthday for him where we talked about how he'd come over the Rainbow Bridge and all the Waldorf kindergarten true spirit story, and he made this circle and he's the point. He's it. And a 6-year-old boy now putting that structure and the circle. And there you have the first kind of flowers, and now you see how the circling works and how the crosses work. And then these lines crossing with the these kind of line drawings that we talked about that I don't see as often, but they're there. And there you see the cross coming into action, structuring. Yeah. So these are all, you know, pictures that the children that I've had have drawn over time, and I've just taken pictures of them. And there you have those crosses now again within this holding, within this framework, emphasizing the structure. And there you have both. They're not quite connected yet. You can see a face starting to come. And the cross is there, but they're not, there's not the head and that yet. Oh, sorry, I guess that was. I guess I'm just showing how old she was. And this is like, just like that child had to draw lots of circles, this child needed to draw lots of structural crosses. An older child. Skip some, there's the star coming. And this was a little birthday wish. It just shows like these stars just reaching out. I wish you a magical horse that could, fly. And sometimes it can go fast into a different world. Yeah, that's where the child is. And there you see them coming together. The lines and the circles. There you have the crosses. And the stars. That's a 6-year-old. Now you see how that star is developing out of the lines. And then we have these first people. This was under 2 years old, which you could just pick up a pen. It's my granddaughter. And there you have somewhere here, and there's something out here, but they're not really quite connected, but I know I have something. And here, what's that? I'm 2 years, 3 months. And how about that? So this kind of third eye is sort of coming out, and then the one on the left almost looks like I remember when I was in the womb. There's a little picture there, but you see, the nice thing about drawings is I don't really ask anything. I don't want to interfere in this way unless we're working in a different therapeutic one-on-one way with the child. And then we have to be careful not to interfere. It is a non-verbal way of expression. And this is developmental, but it can also be emotional. Right now we're looking at developmental drawings. And I'm not quite on the earth, and I know something's coming out of here, and something's coming below, and I have an eyes, and I have not. And there you see in the eyes the how that develops from the point in the circle. And I know there's something below, but I'm not quite there yet. And there you see the little circles on the top that are marked. Here's a whole lot of people. I know something's coming out of here because this is still where my life forces are, but boy, there's something else going on as well. And here's a child drawing, one of the very first people. It's all head. It's all head.
So interesting, there's no body.
No, we're not there yet. Those forces aren't there. They know there's something, but it's not quite there. And there's hair, but where does it go? Way up there, right? And this is a beautiful little picture of the first people. Sure?
Can I ask? If a child is really interested in consistently showing you their drawing, what would be an interaction in a way not
I'd
to
say
interfere, but
Lovely picture. Oh, that's what you drew. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Is it okay to ask, can you tell me more about this because I've had to ask to make sure that I don't guess what it is. So I'm not like, this is
But you see, one moment it could be one thing, and you ask 10 minutes later, it will be something else.
Okay, but it is
But this,
has that
we're
been-
talking about these first 3 years right now, first 3 to maybe 4
Okay.
years, and maybe even 5. So older children draw consciously.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why they're taught to draw starting in first grade and not before, because this is a developmental phase. These are developmental phases.
has a huge head.
Yeah, he's thinking about ears.
Did he just switch hands?
Yeah,
Hand switch, I
because
know.
it's not. That's what. Not quite sure where to go from here. Well, let's put some arms in there. Start over. Oh, that's so cute.
Another person to be his kid. You drank the chip with mom.
Like his mom.
So, these floating people, that we're not above and below yet. We're not to spatial dimensions yet. And this is one big, huge person. I love this one. All head. And then, he's part of the garden. There is now, this is an older child, probably in the 4-year-old range. There is an above and a below, but he's part of the garden. And it's interesting that the hands are like the sun, which means they are also penetrating out into the world. And there's like third eye picture. Like there's this awareness there. These are just so spectacular. This is an older child, but still, there's some feet and hands, but not quite the body yet. And there we have it. Ta-da! Yeah, that's more 5-year-old. Yeah. Yeah, Hinati, who's now all grown up, he was on a star and he said, "I'm coming, Mrs. Clark." That's what he wanted me to write. I'd like to share the next stage with you, and I usually give 3 1.5-hour sessions, so we're just skimming. This is called the tree person. So there you see a kind of a trunk, and the head will become a tree, and the person will come out. And now in this picture, you can see the star, right? And you could see the circling recapitulated there but condensed. And you can see a kind of above happening, but nothing below. Rainbows are often drawn. That is something that children draw a lot. Starting around 4. This is a 4.5-year-old. Now this is a cave drawing, one of the first cave drawings of people, and the reason they thought this was a child, because you don't know, is because it was so low down. So this was one of the first cave drawings. You see, it's very similar. And this is a very sweet one. This is one of the same children. Did you hear that? What's that? Me. Yeah, that's me. So lattice is a form that comes, but let's just skip through here because I'd like to show you. Lattice has to do with growth. It has to do with teeth growing in. It has to do with getting the growth forces, getting taller, spirals. So now we're moving down, And this is a picture of how the blood circulation works, which is in a spiraling motion. So now we're coming from the head down into this chest region, into the heart, and this is around 4.5 in the 5-year-old range, coming down into from the head. Now these life forces are coming down into this spiraling motion. That's why we see all these, you'll see from here, the child will draw spirals. And I'm just gonna speed through these so we can look at a couple more. They usually come from inside to outside, though I've seen it the other way. Why do you think they start from inside to out?
Because they're reaching up.
They're starting from me and going out into the world in a roundness. And mostly these are 5-year-olds. They love drawing spirals. I wish to love you, and I'll give you a bunch of sunflowers. I want to have a play date with you and give you a golden star from my heart. So with this coming into this region are feelings. Strong feelings. The heart is speaking, and it can also be not so nice between some folks too. But it's this feeling, and there you even see the spirals down the head. Yeah, here's a 6.5-year-old. That's a spiraling too. It's a different kind coming out of the sun. And even now in the head, the spiraling. Also, not only is the feeling life waking up in the 5-year-old, but if you think about right here, it's a square. This is what I guess an X-ray picture, but it's a square. And now you'll see these 5-year-olds really drawing squares in very different ways. Like this. Here I am. I was with the head. I come down into my feeling life. Now I'm going to show you where I am. I'm in this spiraling motion, and I'm also in this part of my body that is a square. And the square is very present in the 5-year-old. And to make sure you know it is, I'm going to put circles in there, meaning I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Are you with me? Yeah. Even square shoes, very, very much. Sometimes that little circling comes in. These first people, that's a first house. It's called a beehive house. Let me see. Just gonna breeze through these so you can see. Again, here are the first people, and this is a 5-year-old, and she asked me to write, these are our shoes. It's really starting to sense that part, but not quite. But marking this middle section, this is where I am right now. This Mariah is really strong. I'm still in contact with her. She is in college, and she's done such remarkable ecological work that she met with not the president we have now, but the president we had before Obama. Mm-hmm. She was invited to the White House. And she was in the kindergarten. That's her brother. I had her too. But I mean strong. Really strong-willed and strong person. Again, I'm marking this middle square. Lots of squares. So, okay. It's much longer than we can get through, but, so these 6 to 7 year old children. So now these life forces have come from above, have come down into the head, have come down into the heart, have come down into the chest, and now the bones. And not every bone is like that, but there's several bones that have a triangular form. And so now, guess what? We're gonna, and here's the some triangular bone. Gonna start making triangles. Around 5 to 6. Maybe earlier, maybe later. I wish we could see Rapunzel and swing together, then have a play date with chocolate and marshmallows, then we could see Snow White. These beautiful imaginations. Yeah, there you see the square and the triangle. Yeah. There you really see the triangle coming into my body. There's new things that happen because now I'm going into my hands. And my hands can do things they couldn't do before, like finger knit. I have independence in my hands. I'm starting to ride a 2-wheel bike sometimes. I'm learning to jump rope as a 6-year-old child. I am doing, lots of different things. Yeah. I'm weaving, right? That happens in the kindergarten. There you have the square and the triangle. I really love learning to weave, she says, because I'm using my new forces that have come into my hands to make them so available to me. Rainbows from heaven to earth, that's what that says. And one is still up in heaven and one's come all the way down. And there you see the beautiful triangular shape in the body. And again, here we are, marking, this triangular and more. Here I am just going from the square to the triangle and marking that very clearly. And there you see the hands like suns again, really reaching out into the world. And sometimes they can go like all over the picture. These reaching out of the hands into the world. And suns again with the little triangle. And who is this little friend? Whispering in her ear. I wonder. And now you see these figures are coming a little bit more down to earth. Sometimes there's some geometrical colors organized, put together. So this is an interesting thing. Believe it if you want to or not. But watching children who have loose teeth, I've watched them have very loose teeth, and then this crown comes on their head when the teeth come out, or around that time. Let's see if I have another one. I don't right now, but why then? Why at 6.5 to 7? And sometimes children do turn 7, but usually not until summer or the beginning in the fall when they go to first grade. But when this, what I really want to bring is when this life force, this etheric force, this formative force moves from the head into the heart, into here, and down into the limbs. After that force is done, which Rudolf Steiner tells us is at 7 years old, and that those energies are needed to build the body to form the organs, to make the model body into their uniqueness, the head is freed up to learn, to have instruction in first grade. Can children learn how to read and do all those things before? Of course they can. But what are we taking from them if we can just give them that time to let these spiritual forces that are coming through their body to make their model body, the hereditary body, their own, all the way to the feet. And we call them golden knights in the kindergarten, those children who will be upcoming first graders, and they will weave, they will learn to jump rope, they will go out with their teacher and do some kind of first grade type things, but not quite there. It's like a bridge. So that is why we don't put 5-year-olds in first grade.
Do boys drop drones too?
What?
Do boys drop drones too?
That's a good question. I mostly see the girls do. Yeah.
Usually they have a sword in their hand.
Crown and so
So now you see the 6.5-year-old girl. She's come down into her arms, into her hands. She even has legs and feet. Her face is complete. She has hair. She's on the ground. She has an above and she has a below. I mean, this structuring of spatial dimensions you need when you learn to write, when you need it for math, right? You need all of that, and it actually happens on its own in those first years. I can go on a little bit more. So this is from Sally Goddard Blythe, who is an expert on reflexes and brain development. She's not a Waldorf person, and we can learn a lot from people who aren't as well. And I got to hear her speak once. But what this is about the left and the right hemisphere, the prefrontal lobes. And there you see on the left, logic, analysis, and so forth. And then on the right, the holistic, intuitive, visual, spatial orientation, rhythm. The children live much more in this right hemisphere, though there's some left things going. But what she's telling us in the middle there, if you see where it says corpus callosum, you see that? So what that is that there's this, and some of you might know better than me, but it's a band that goes right through the two hemispheres of the brain. And what happens between 6.5 and 7.5 years old is that all of these connections start happening in the brain, and not before then. So the logic and the phonetic decoding and the writing and the numeracy, all of that begins to come with the logic and the holistic and the analysis and the intuitive. Those begin to, all these amazing connections happen, which goes along with what we just have seen. Basically, she doesn't know about, as far as I know, about the model body and the uniqueness of this force coming through, but she sees it in brain development. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question or want to say more than I know about this? That's pretty pretty much the brain development side, which I think is important to look at. And then we have these, does anybody need, we were just gonna go to 6:30, so I don't wanna.
Okay.
Keep going.
Horses.
Okay,
All you say.
okay, just leave when you need to. So, we have the circling there, but now we want some order. This is really a big 6-year-old thing. Putting colors in a structural way, which can be a rainbow. That'd be kind of a more cosmic structurally. This is a little house. We should really talk about the house. We'll look at these and then I'll tell you about the house. So now you see, look at this. So there we have the lines. The lines. But here we have the cosmic geometrical kind of structuring going on. It's in a square, but in the center is all this movement of roundness. And children will do this over and over and over again, just structuring geometric forms and colors. Another beautiful roundness. Or square. Or triangle. Diamond. That's a first house. There you see the door. And eventually we come to this person, house, tree picture. But let's talk about the house. So, you know, that first house is really the circle, right? But eventually the child will take that square and now outside of themselves and put it, you know, this is an archetypal house. A square and the triangle. The windows. That often look like this. Sure. And the door. And the chimney, often with smoke coming out. This is another self picture. This is a self. So here we have the windows. So what, you know, if you look out the window in the day, when you can see out, you're really looking from yourself, my eyes, that can be windows of the soul, they say, but I'm looking out at the world in the protection of my own being, looking out the window, right? That's what you do when you look out a window. If you want to understand something, you have to do it. Like, what does window mean? So this is really sensory perceptions. And this cross is giving structure to it. And this cross is giving a filter, or not, there, to sense impressions. So, not always, and I just would say, when I see windows without that, and children draw these, I'm thinking you don't see them so much. I guess, you know, not on these windows, I mean, there's lines, but they do draw these. You know, that sometimes sense impressions maybe are coming in too strongly. there isn't that filter. Sometimes there's windows everywhere. Like, and there are a couple of pictures like that. And it's just like there's so many sense impressions coming in. I can't, it's throwing me over the edge. Yeah? And so what is a door? I mean, there's a door. You walk in the door. You're walking from one environment into another environment. Or you leave your house and it's like, okay, I can go to this meeting, right? And now I have to leave the protection of me in my own house into meeting another person or going to do whatever I'm gonna do. I go out into the world. It also has to do with sleeping and waking, right? I'm in my house, I'm asleep. I open the door, I'm awake. I need a doorknob. Sometimes there's no doorknob. And never jump to conclusions. It's really important to just be so objective and feel into the feeling that this is bringing, whatever it is. And then I have this chimney, and children often draw it, not often like, however they do. And there's this smoke, so that means there's a fire or some warmth in the house. And it's vitality, it's life force coming from me all the way through me. Because this is me too, especially in the first 7 years of life. So we see the triangle and the square coming together. And sometimes you'll see the person house tree picture is a whole another story. It's huge. Psychologists use it sometimes to just see what's going on with the child. But I can just say that sometimes there's just this little person here. And they're still really so inside themselves. They're not standing outside themselves yet. So it's like there's so much to the house. There's so much to the person, and there's a huge amount to the tree. Do you want to know about the tree? Or no? Is this good enough?
I thought you said
You want to see a tree? Well, I tell you what, I will stop.
Please.
More tree. So this person house tree is interesting. It's used as one of the, not only, but where is the child in terms of going into first grade? It will not mean that the child does or does not go, but it does show us a lot of where the child is.